Hey viewers, welcome to VL Astrology once again. And today I'm welcoming Nāthan on my channel. He has a background as a petroleum engineer and has been practicing astrology professionally since 2014. He currently works as a business analyst and lead implementation manager in integration AI technologies in the global financial regulatory industry. He learned Western Psychology Astrology in 2010 and then learned traditional Western Astrology, qualifying with the Diploma in Medieval Astrology 2012 and Diploma in Astrological Studies 2014. He completed the STA Horary Astrology Practitioner's course in 2016 and various other masterclasses over the years, covering natal, mundane, and specialist topics. He qualified as a Certified Paṇḍita Jyotiṣa 2023 from Acyutānanda Paraṁpara of Traditional Teachings in Vedic Astrology by Pandit Sanjay Rath. He served as country representative of Organization of Professional Astrologers 2018 to 2023. He served as CAA Secretary 2014 to 2015 and assisted CAA Leadership 2021 to 2023. From 2020 to 2023, he was a copy editor for the Jyotish Digest magazine circulated by Sagittarius Publications of Devaguru Bṛhaspati Center in India. From 2021 to 23, Nāthan was an assistant teacher in Vedic Astrology for Devaguru Brihaspati Center, India. Nāthan practices and teaches both traditional Western and traditional Vedic astrology in his work as complementary systems and perspectives on life. We met at the conference in Odisha a couple of years back, and a really good friend, and he's very knowledgeable and has been practicing from a long time. And I welcome you to my channel, Nāthan. Thank you so much for making time. Thank you.
My foray into astrology began because I had questions that I wasn't getting satisfactory answers to about myself, right? And I noticed certain things happening, repeating in my life, and I needed answers about them. And self-knowledge basically was the drive. And from that platform, I got into Western astrology, Hellenistic, Persian, Arabic, medieval astrology, and I've been very blessed, I must say, to have really good teachers, no matter what I want to learn. Whether it's in engineering or it's the current work environment, the mentors, that has always been a blessing. So I'm always very grateful to all of them. Of course, I have to also put my head to the task, and I think I've had an all-consuming thirst for this knowledge, and a lot of it has felt over the years that it's people say, "If you learn so much so quickly," and I'll say yes, but that means there's a lot of practice to be done, right? There's still a lot of practice to be done.
Right, absolutely.
The more you know, the more you feel like you don't know, and the more you feel like you need to improve, and the more you feel like you need to, especially when you have really senior astrologers, really famous astrologers around you doing work, is very inspiring. So you can never feel like you've reached the top of the mountain. There's no such thing, especially when you get into Vedanga Jyotish, moving away from Western astrology into Vedic astrology.
Wow.
It's a huge deal, and even though I qualified as a Jyotisha Pandita, I still feel that I'm in the waddling pool, the baby pool, because now the real work begins.
Yes.
Now the real, professional work begins. And I've been practicing professionally for about 10 years now.
Okay, great.
And my current practice is based on using both Vedic astrology and Western astrology, whichever, as the need arises, because these are tools. And that's my focus, speakerastrology.com. So info@speakerastrology.com is how people can contact me, but just to put it simply. And people often have this question of, well, you're doing Vedic astrology and Western astrology, are you mixing them, all of that. I know there are astrologers that are doing that, but I treat the two systems separately in their own right.
Okay.
They've developed their own methods that work for certain things better than others.
Hmm.
And sometimes clients ask me, well, which one do you use? Or which one is better? And for sure, when it comes to, in terms of granularity and detail, Vedic astrology is really up there. There's a lot of rules to learn in Vedic astrology, but the rules that you learn work, at least within a Paraṁpara framework. Okay. If you're just learning Vedic astrology from textbooks and the texts alone without a guru, it will be quite challenging. Okay. So, because not everything's written down. Even in Western traditional astrology, not everything has been written down. Just the gist has been written there. Right. And you have to spend time working at it. As you know, you've spent decades, working with astrology. So that's the basis of my practice. I treat everything as complementary, and I follow sort of, our teacher, Pandit Sanjay Rath ji, he emphasized, before you start, you need to do your meditations, your prayers, your chanting. Yes. And even some traditional Western astrologers, some Arabic astrologers, William Lilly, Christian astrology in the UK, he's in the beginning of all of their works, they always have invocation to the divine, to God, exhorting the astrologer to invoke the blessings of God in what they do. And so that idea, because what we're doing is studying light. Jyotish is the study of light, right? And how that is working with our karma, light in terms of consciousness, light in terms of our awareness. So taking that into account, I follow that guidance. So when someone asks a question, it's a feeling that happens as to, okay, well, which tool is going to be that I need to use right now? Some things have been drilled into you at Vedic astrology. So when you get those normal, usual questions about marriage and children and work and career and things like that, it's very easy with Vedic astrology because the rules are all very nicely laid out. And that's how it's been taught, thankfully, to me. But sometimes you get questions that are about someone's inner life, and they're looking for purpose and meaning. And then I think that's where the skill comes in, because yes, you have, in both systems of astrology, you have some idea about spirituality. A lot more in Vedic astrology, I must say, is exquisitely detailed when it comes to spirituality and all of that. So of course, that's the first place I will go to. But then it's not enough you can know like Atma Karaka, you can know all these things, but synthesizing and having a contextual view, at the end of the day, I always say to people and to other astrologers, when you read something in a chart, when you look at something, always ask yourself, so what? So what? This person has this combination and that combination and this curse and that whatever and this blessing. Okay, so what? What are you going to say to the person? You're looking and you're interacting with a human being. What are you going to say to them that from tomorrow can improve their life? If it's just, well, I can predict that this will happen to them, I'm sorry to tell you, that's not actually, in my experience at least, what helps a person the most. You also need to give them the tools to understand why that's happening and how long it can happen and sustain for. Because if you say something was going to happen, they want to know, oh, can it happen again? Can it be bigger? Can it be better? Right? If you tell them something challenging is coming, how quickly can it be finished? How quickly can we fix it? Can I avoid it? Can I, So, absolutely. And then if you feed that sort of anxiety that the client comes to, they're already coming to you in a very vulnerable state, first of all. Okay. Yes. And, as an astrologer, you have your list of questions that they've asked. And most of the time, the questions they've asked are not actually the questions, right? as an astrologer, because you can see, oh, actually, sometimes, most of the times, actually, all the questions they've asked, actually, most of them are linked to each other, right? But the client thinks that there are separate things happening in their life. So you, as the Jyotishi or astrologer, you have the map in front of you. The rishis have given you, our gurus have taught us how to read it. And now you have to now decide how to explain to this person what's happening to them, not in a way that you feel happy to say, but in a way that they can understand and actually take action on. So that's something that I found, and as you said very rightly earlier, one of the, I think, marks of a professional astrologer is that you can have a reading with them and not hear one astrological word at all in the whole session.
Yes.
That's my view. Because that's for you to know that it's Saturn dasha and this dasha and that's something and something combination, this yoga. That's for you to know, right? That person only has maybe 1 hour, 45 minutes with me, right? Every minute of that time, I have to be able to communicate all this jargon that I'm sitting with, that I've sat with in preparation for their chart reading, and convey to them in a language they can understand. And I think this has happened to me a lot because most of my clients are not from India. Right?
Absolutely.
Some clients are atheistic, clients are agnostic, right? You can't talk, okay, do this mantra, do that. It doesn't work. Now, does that mean that Vedic astrology is only meant for Indians or people that follow Hinduism? No, right? Vedas are universal. Vedas are for all, right? The Vedas don't belong to one culture or even one country. They will go where they need to go, right? And that is how, in the late 19th century, all these yogis from India went to propagate in the West, because they could possibly see in the future a more universal understanding of Vedic culture. 40 years ago, if you talked about yoga on the street, people will think you're crazy, at least where I stay, right? But now it's so common. The Vedic culture is so spread out and even gaining in its appeal because it is Sanatan, because it has that broad appeal, not just to people, but to the soul. It speaks to so many levels of spirituality. So when I get clients that are from a Western background, or they say they're skeptical about astrology, okay, and they're agnostic or they're atheistic, or they come from other religions, let's say, other cultural backgrounds, all that jargon of astrology cannot pass my lips because it will mean nothing to them. No. Right? Absolutely. The remedies, I can't now say do this Ganesha mantra or do this Sahasranama or something. They'll look at me and say, what are you talking about? Right? But that doesn't mean that astrology can't help them. It should be able to help them. If Vedanga Jyotish is from the Vedas, and it is the eyes of the Vedas, and Vedas are universal, then Jyotish must also become universal. And I think the way it's being presented to clients with the jargon-heavy presentation, the people that are not from that background, they don't find it appealing to come. They don't find it approachable. Let me put it that way. When actually it's sad, to think that, oh, there might be 10 people that could have come to me for a reading, but because it's all, the language and the jargon is so much upfront, it's actually pushing those people away that need help. So at least for me, in my practice, because those are my clients, right, I've learned to not let the jargon pass my lips. And I will ask the client, do you have a background in astrology? Are you okay with me talking about some astrology terms? Even then, even for students or other astrologers that I've consulted for, I keep it very, very minimal, because the problem happens, Vanita, especially with the professional astrologers that come to you for readings. doctors are the worst patients. Mention one dasha, suddenly their mind is gone somewhere else. If you mention this yoga combination, suddenly their mind is gone. And they are losing out as a soul that has come to listen to some guidance, right? Because now their intellectual mind is working away and it's in the way, right? So I keep the language really very, not minimal, but I keep it focused. And
the first question that you ask your clients, we can prepare the clients, or we can say that, if you are seeking help, if you want to reach out to an astrologer, so there are certain rules for the astrologer also, isn't it? Not just for the seeker. So if as an astrologer, you know that the person who's coming to you is in pain, in distress, is curious, so we cannot waste their time. And we have to be specific. We have to be speaking in their language, layman's language, simple. And of course, we can ask them, okay, do you, as I always put in my reading, first question is, do you understand astrology? Do you understand this language? Oh, yes, a little bit. Oh, no, not at all. These would be or yes, I'm a pro and I want guidance because I've been watching your videos and I want to know. So there are different kinds of clients, and we have to deal with them differently. We cannot just categorize our clients in one category. We have to be, first of all, careful about their feelings, how vulnerable they are, what strength do they have. And looking at the horoscope, you will know. You see, you will know.
Yes, you get those clients that are a lot more insistent, right?
Yes.
Even if they're going through a tough time. Look, people fall into two broad categories. Some people want you to tell them what to do, right?
Yeah.
And some people just want you to tell them what their options are.
Right.
Those are two different mindsets completely. Okay. And you as an astrologer, I have to spend time understanding, okay, what is my own preference? If I was to seek advice from someone, do I want to know, okay, I just need to
my
know
planetary positions are so and so.
Right, right.
That.
Out of all of those things, I don't want to know I can do this or this or this. I just want to know what is the path of least resistance in something. Some resistance will always be there. That is the nature of karma. The 10th house is Makara Rashi. It's Makara. It's Shani. That's what it is, right? Some resistance will always be there that we have to work through because that's how we evolve. But what is the path of least resistance out of different options? Some clients they don't want you to tell them the path of least resistance. Some of them want you to tell them all the options available, right? Including the default option, which they would normally take. And then, because they want to go decide on their own what they want to do. And people, you should encourage that, I think. As astrologers, that's my view, that if a client chooses, and that's also part of what I check in terms of the first couple of minutes of a session, how somebody is answering questions, how they are telling me what's going on with them. You can tell in which category, which type of clients you're dealing with. Because then you know how to present your information. So what I'm trying to say in short is that just as much as we spend a lot of time looking at charts, we need to spend also time thinking about the client. They're not just objects, right? They're not just pieces of karma coming to us in bodies, right? And they're also not bad people, right? I can't say to you how many times I've heard this person's got this horrible combination, or this person has that horrible yoga or whatever, and this is smashed in their chart, or even something is not exist, some graha is not even in the chart. I've heard astrologers talk like this, and it's not helpful to anybody. It's especially not good vachaka karma to be speaking like that about anybody, especially someone who has come to you as an astrologer. Vachaka doesn't mean you have to say it. It's also if you're thinking like that. Yes, you recognize that there are difficult combinations, there are doshas, there are curses, etc., and things like that. But again, it comes to my question: so what? Right? So what? And the truth is, Vanita, that there are so many people that get through life just fine without astrologers, right? So either they're doing something right or we're doing something wrong. Okay?
Yeah.
And now that astrology is becoming a lot more mainstream, and consumers are becoming a lot more knowledgeable about astrology themselves,
I
especially
think
the
so,
younger
yeah.
generation.
I think they are becoming aware.
Yeah, they are, both West and the East, right? As that happens, as the consumers become more knowledgeable, their expectations are going to go up. And we need to be able to perform better. And that doesn't always mean doing better predictions. It also means knowing the person better, because sometimes that can also help you do better predictions more than following the rules can, right? Because you develop a connection with the person, as you were saying before we started, right?
Yes.
So it takes time. I mean, some clients, you have a good session with them, and then it's word of mouth. The other side of this is the marketing thing. At least for me, marketing hasn't worked. But what has worked the best is word of mouth, right? And it's been the most reliable, and it's free for everybody.
Yes. No, we have to be honest, Nāthan. We have to be honest. We have to be the integrity, we should not leave. See, you as an astrologer, your foremost duty is that you have been assigned a divine task. This is a divine task. We are the mediators. It is such a responsible and a powerful position that the divine has given us. How can we take it non-seriously and casually and just overlooking even I have seen people not even getting in the depth of the chart. They don't even prepare before the reading. I have seen with my own eye. 15 minutes, 10 minutes, I'll do it. See, it's been 3 decades, over 3 decades, Still, I get nervous. I'm telling you, I get nervous before a reading. No, I start doing the kavach and all the prayers, and before the client joins in, I'm there, and I always say that it's not me who's doing this; it's you who's doing it, and whatever you want to show that person, please show him through me. And I should be a good reader, during this time period, and I'm just a nobody. It's only you and only you, the driving one. And that is something, which gives me, I am telling you, Nāthan, many, many a times I am shocked when the words are coming from my mouth, when I'm doing the reading. How did I do this? How did I see this? Honestly speaking, today also, it was today when I read a horoscope and there were 2-3 combinations. I was shocked after doing that reading. Oh my gosh, how this happened. So it has happened with you also, I'm sure. If you are a true astrologer, a true reader, you will be going through all these experiences for sure, time and again, because you feel that there is some force, there is some force who's driving you.
It is. Just a comment on, the 15 minutes prep time. There have been cases where, and I'm being fully transparent here, where I've forgotten that I had a reading to do, right? I'm human. This happens.
Yeah.
Especially as I get older, right? As much as I have administration in place and things, sometimes my mind, it just goes and I forget that, I actually have a reading this morning, right? And I have a reading like in an hour, right? And I'm not even home yet, right? So I rush back, and in those moments, those readings have been somehow, as you say, the words come. And I think that has to do with the astrologer maintaining their personal practice, their personal connection to the rishis and to the gurus and to the knowledge itself, right? As a thing. and sometimes even with the wrong chart, right? Because putting the month and the year,
AM,
AM,
PM.
PM, those things, even with the wrong chart, sometimes it's uncanny, but that's the nature of divination, right?
Yes.
And I feel like that's where being connected to whoever's sitting in your heart, you have that faith and you have that, and you don't take it for granted, obviously, and do all readings like that. But you are doing Jyotish knowing that you have that support there. You have that big person who is also sitting with you doing the readings all the time, whoever that is. So I truly believe that. And you said that you're destined to get whoever you get as an astrologer, and that is true. I believe that. Yeah.
If a person is meant to come to you, will come to you any which ways.